Hello, parents and students of Mid Lakes. My name is Dan Farrands. I teach technology education in the middle school. I have two courses that I teach. The first is computer applications in seventh grade. I teach this course along with Mr. Conrad, who also has classes in seventh grade computer application. He and I come from different backgrounds. I teach technology education, whereas his background is in business. However, we are trying to work together to come up with a course that's a little more consistent, so that regardless of what instructor your student gets, they'll have a very similar experience. That's what we're going for. We've been working very hard, and to give him credit, I would say Mr. Conrad's been working harder at trying to find a good keyboarding program for this course. Keyboarding was a big part of computer applications, and I think a very important, necessary skill, uh, especially in this day and age. So we're trying to find a program that meets the district's um, criteria as far as making sure the user stays private, and it would be very difficult to find out information from somebody using an online keyboarding program. And Mr. Conrad's very vigilant about that and looking into it and working hard at that. Um, like I said, we do have two different backgrounds, and we are trying to make the course a little more similar this year. We got to keep in mind each other's frame of reference as we move forward. So we've been trying to do that and be considerate of what we each find to be an important aspect of the class. My class right now is working on an invention project. This project will use PowerPoint and Word basically to put together the things needed for this unit. I like it because it is a springboard to my eighth grade class when we start talking about how technology evolved. We talk about how these inventions played a big role in the evolution of human society. And so I like that aspect of it. And I do appreciate the fact that they will do a paper with Word. They'll do a presentation with PowerPoint, um, and that's how I'm going to start it out. I think once we get the keyboarding situation settled, that'll help the students progress more quickly in the class. It's important that each student has a notebook when they Zoom with me, so that if there's any information I need to give them, I want them to be able to take notes, and I'd like them to have their notebook and something to write with every time they Zoom. I really don't want to take time for kids to run looking for these things. I hope that they're prepared just like they would be for class and have it in front of them whenever we meet. Um, Other programs that we'll use eventually will be like Excel. One of the most enjoyable for the kids traditionally is a bridge builder program where they design bridges and they test them on the computer. It's a very good program. I have to make sure that again it falls in line with district's policies as far as privacy and any online interaction. We have to make sure the student is able to remain private. Uh, but that is a really fun unit for the kids. They really enjoy that, and I enjoy it as well. So we're still working together, Mr. Conrad and I, as far as manipulating this class into something that we could, both have a similar experience. The next one is the materials processing. That is a eighth grade course. Uh, Obviously, extremely difficult to teach this course through Zoom. I can't ask them to borrow your tools and use them safely and correctly without me in the room. So it certainly is modified. I feel very comfortable about the first semester, the first half of the year. I think is going to be okay because there are a lot of concepts and academia involved in the material processing course that I used to provide. However, I think I'm going to have to dig a little deeper and still make it valuable and good learning experience, even without the ability to use the hands-on aspect of the course. You know, it used to be about 75% of the class. The classes, I'd come in and say, okay, get your things, begin work. I'll be milling around the room, see if you have questions, make sure you're in the right direction, that sort of thing. But now it's more teaching the traditional way, and I'm really hopeful it's still I can maintain it to be a good learning experience as well as an enjoyable one for all of my eighth grade students. We start out with the introduction to technology. We talk about the history of technology. We'll do measuring. We do simple machines. Then we get into the resources of technology, and we discuss all the resources. There are seven of them, and they will know them all. And each one we will put under the microscope a little bit, just to kind of touch base. Like one of them is materials. We'll talk about woods. We'll talk about plastics and metals, and we'll talk about the appropriateness for different materials for different applications. You know, another one is information. Normally, I have drawing boards and T squares and drawing tools, and they would do some very simple formal drawings. Unfortunately, they won't be able to do that this year, but I'm hoping that I can come up with some ideas as far as getting the point across about what formal drawings are, how they're created, and how useful they are in especially like manufacturing and architecture and things like that. I The next unit that we do is problem solving. One of the most important units, I believe, is problem solving for technology. We'll go through the steps of problem solving. We'll do several examples. Again, this is a good one, like the bridge building. You know, there's a lot of in this room. Usually, they would build a model bridge. They would crush it and figure out its efficiency. Um, Again, hopefully, this nightmare will be over as far as the coronavirus, and things will get back to normal. And hopefully, before the end of the year, all my kids will be back and we can do these things. But until then, we will still do the best we can to convey the information that the kids need. Lastly, we'll be talking about systems, technological systems, and norm, normally that's one of the most exciting. I always say that for the last because that's when we have the good weather. And I built a launch pad that I hook up to my compressor, and we blow off water rockets that we make from 2-liter bottles. And it's one of my favorite and the kids' favorite activities because these things go incredibly high, depending on how well made they are and so on. But I'm hoping we get back to more of a hands-on traditional class. I can't tell you how much I want to get back to that, but I do want to compliment our kids on the fact that I was so apprehensive coming in this fall, and because of their attitude and because of the way they kind of like buckled down and got into this, it made it so much easier for me than I thought it would be. And kudos to them. Kudos to this community for pulling this all together and trying to get it right. Thanks so much, and I hope we have a great year, and I hope there's a lot of learning. Have a good day.